What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zworich. We chatted some Skeleton Crew earlier in the week, but Star Wars' newest, cutest, sweetest little show. And now we are diving into something much darker from the DC universe, ready to chat some Creature Commandos. I am TJ Zworich. I'm joined by Damon Gray. How you doing today, Damon?
I'm doing great. This is a whiplash of two very different shows. You know, we had a show that, like you mentioned, very wholesome, very cute, very family-friendly, family-oriented. You just want to, protect these kids with your lives, and you go right into this, which is a much different show. I'm still enjoying it, but when you have a big, turn like that, it's like, whoa.
We got What If coming up as well. Probably gonna be like right in the middle of these two. It's not gonna be near as dark as Creature Commandos. Probably won't be quite as wholesome as Skeleton Crew, but we're gonna be covering that as well. We got some really fun interviews coming up for What If, so make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so we can build the community, get in front of as many eyes as possible, battling that YouTube algorithm. And you got to hit the notification bell as well and subscribe, because you don't want to miss out on these awesome interviews we have dropping. What you been watching in the last 2 days since we talked last? I'm realizing when we have two shows a week, this segment kind of only works for one of them, but I'll take the time to say, if you have not been playing Marvel Rivals, everybody, you got to tune in. Add me on Rivals, add me as a friend, TJZ_AOF, nice and easy. TJ Zworich, Agents of Fandom, TJZ_AOF. I've been having a ton of fun with this game, playing. I'm liking the strategic support roles, playing a little as Jeff, playing a little as Mantis, getting better at Cloak and Dagger. So I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I also watched Freddy versus Jason for the first time for my fantasy football league assignment. Tomorrow, the time we record this on a Thursday, tomorrow is a Friday the 13th. And so the winner wanted to theme it based on that. I had to watch Freddy versus Jason. That's a very silly movie. See, it's not for me. That kind of stuff. It's not for me, but it was fine. You've been watching anything new over the last couple days?
No. I've just been, honest to God, when I'm reading, and we're recording our new Comic Corner episode today. It will be dropping tomorrow. We're on Fridays now while Creature Commandos is going out. But while I read, I listen to a lot of music, and I've just been vibing to that. So a lot of Creeper, a lot of Funeral Portraits, the Haunt thrown in there, and any other good stuff that's coming out. It's just we're in a great little age. Hey, man, Pop Punk's not dead yet.
Well, let's dive into some Creature Commandos here. That's what the people came for. That's what we're here for, to talk about. This was a really, really good episode of television, I think. It, like you talked about how Skeleton Crew to Creature Commandos is a bit of a whiplash. This episode has a little bit of a whiplash effect, from making you feel really good to making you just feel absolutely terrible at different portions of it. But I thought it was really well written, because the consequences, the stakes that they're putting out, I felt them emotionally, because I really cared about some of these characters they were laying out, due to the way that they weave in their backstories throughout these episodes. 3 episodes in, what have you thought about Creature Commandos?
I'm still enjoying it. Again, the show isn't blowing me away just because it is what I expected it to be. It is fun. It is very gory. It is, as we mentioned, a little bit of spice thrown in there too. Not so much in this episode in particular, but this is the episode I kind of needed out of this series, which is the episode that has a lot of heart to it. And yes, they are monsters, but they are supposed to be sympathetic in the end. And you do get, some sympathy with GI Robot. And I assume we're going to keep going in that direction for the majority of these characters. So I've been enjoying it. It's been solid. It's just, it is what I expected it to be.
I think that makes sense. It is very. It just like it does feel like its own little appetizer to the DCU, like it doesn't feel like a big grand opening, even though it is the first thing. Superman is going to be that this year, and it feels like a fun. I'm excited to watch it each week, but not a must see television that I am needing to watch each and every week. I will say though, it does have an extra special place in my heart because I got to see the quote from my review in one of the latest trailers that James Gunn shared, and so I was getting to see a whole lot of fun. Agents of Fandom was pretty cool in the Creature Commandos trailer, especially because like our site's had lots of these before. We've done this a few times now, but that was my first one, and so that was really exciting for me to get my first one in there. Shout out to Rich Nebbins in chat coming to say hello. He hasn't seen the episode yet, but wants to come in and say what's up. So shout out to Rich for popping in here to say hello. We'll have to get Rich on here for one of these episodes if he can get all caught up. We'll have to make sure we get Rich back on as a guest. But episode 3 specifically, spoiler warning for those who have not watched the episode yet. What are your thoughts on episode 3?
Again, I thought this episode 3 was pretty solid. We got the more of the sympathy, more backstory. I have a feeling you've seen the majority of the show, if not all of the show already. So I have a feeling that at this point, each episode you're going to get a little bit of backstory on each of the characters. And you're like, oh, this one's my favorite now. Oh, no, this one's my favorite. I feel like we're going to be kind of going through that with each and every episode. But it pushed the story forward. Circe, however we want to pronounce it in this new DCU, is a menace. She's powerful, but also it shows, too, how powerful these monsters are. Because they can go toe-to-toe with her if they have the numbers on their side, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, it's this episode, pretty solid. We got a lot of GI's backstory and GI Robot's backstory. And it went pretty much how I expected, at least on the war front. But then you try to bring him to more of the modern society bit where he gets taken in and you're like, oh, look at this guy. And then you start to get some weird vibes with this guy. And it turns out, ooh, he's a Nazi. And GI does what GI does.
Did you recognize his voice?
Them all. I don't.
That was Michael Rooker.
Oh my god, I should have. He has such a distinct voice.
Yeah, and so that was really cool as well. I want to shout out Sean Gunn's performance. We didn't get to talk to him for Creature Commandos, but we did get to talk to him ahead of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So you can find Ryan's interview with him up on the Agents of Fandom YouTube page. But he was incredible in this episode. Like, his voice acting is really, really strong. We know what he can do from a live action and mocap perspective, but his performance as GI Robot was really strong. He's got the robot cadence down. It reminded me of like a softer, sillier Ultron. It gave me the vibes that like he had the ability, if he wanted to do an Ultron style of voice. What stood out about his performance from you? Because he really made me care about this little robot man.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty straightforward story with him in particular, but it is one of sympathy just because this is something like, when you have a robot and they're designed to do one thing and that's all he cares about is this one thing, but then he has like that little sub thing. It's like, what do you really care about? He's like, well, killing Nazis with my friends. And when you add like that in there, you're like, all right, we get a little bit more to it because killing Nazis is great. Everyone loves that. But when you have to add a secondary factor onto it and you just made it something as simple as I just want to do this with my friends, that adds a special layer.
It does. It makes him a relatable character, because as they mention, he the guy after the war that begins experimenting on him, what is his name here? I had it written down. Dr. William Magnus, a character from I don't know much about, but he is from DC Comics. As was Sure Shot and a few of his bros, his brothers, his boys that he fought in the war with. They're all other DC characters as well. But his directive is killing Nazis. That's what he wants to do. That's what he's got to do, is kill Nazis. But my favorite thing to do is watch and talk about movies and TV, watch, play, and talk about sports. And you know what I like doing? No, it's better than that, is doing that with my friends, is having a few friends who like to do the exact same thing and getting together with them, shooting some hoops, watching a movie and talking about it, getting on Marvel Rivals and playing together. It's a lot more fun to do with your friends. And so it added a little relatable aspect of his character, and it makes you feel for him. And through the years, the war is over. He gets his kind of like Captain America tour that, does not go well because he's not a show pony. He's a robot who wants to kill Nazis. When I was watching the scene where he is having his very first like time on stage, I thought for sure he was just going to start shooting up the crowd, and that's how he wound up in jail. But no, he gets experimented on through the years. We don't really know what's going to come of all the experiments on him in the DCU and how that's going to impact things, but that did feel like a breadcrumb for later. And eventually he winds up with Sam Fitzgibbons. Sam feels like a nice guy at the beginning, but something's a little bit off. I'm not saying this is objective. This is factual by any means. I'm not trying to be overly judgmental. I'm just saying, for me personally, when I see somebody just like collecting a bunch of stuff from wartime, not just from, one side, but from both sides, I start questioning things a little bit. I start wondering, like, maybe this isn't a terrible person, but I don't think this is somebody I want to hang out with. And so when they get into the place, you see it's very much like this. Before they even unveil the Nazi symbol, you can tell it's very much a Proud Boys, white supremacist style get together here. And G.I. Robot just unloads on all of them. He kills all the Nazis. So he was programmed to kill Nazis. Everybody knew that was his job, but he goes to jail for it anyways. And that's how he eventually winds up.
Yeah, they tried him as a man, not a robot.
Yeah,
that's how they did it.
That's wild.
Crazy. Like, you're gonna try a robot who has a one directive as a man?
I don't know how exactly that works.
That's a good lawyer.
But, that's a good lawyer, exactly. Yeah, his lawyer not so much. His lawyer was just sitting there with his head in his hands the whole time. But
like, if you're his lawyer, how do you not bring that? This is a robot.
Start to finish, what did you think about G.I.'s backstory? And what do you think of the storytelling style they're utilizing through episode 2 and 3 here, where they advance the plot, but also pick a character to provide backstory for?
Seems pretty standard, honestly, for like a lot of like these team ensemble shows. If you're gonna go into it where this is like their first time being presented, you need to have their backstory in some way. So it seems pretty standard to have like each episode be about a certain character, and it helps progress things forward. Then, maybe by the end of the episode, that character has a big revelation or is no longer with us. Either or, it pushes things forward a little bit. So it's solid. It's good storytelling. I don't think it's anything unique in any way.
He saves his own team, his full team, when he's back in the war, and that's what gives him the love and the affection of his boys. That's what teaches him friendship. And there's one thing he wants to do, it's kill Nazis. The second, it's do it with his friends. And he finds a friend on this Creature Commandos team in Nina. This is such a friggin' dark show where like you just like even not even just the fact of the gore and the people dying, but like Nina just in a cold tub with some barbed wire over the top of it without any, I don't know how clothing works for a being of her type, but without any of her clothes. And G.I. Robot's just so excited to see her, even though he didn't get to kill any Nazis yet. Their bond is nice. Their bond is sweet, and once again makes me care about these characters more than I otherwise would have.
Yeah, I'm always a little worried whenever two characters start talking in the show because you never know. Like, we've kind of seen that. So, like, when Joe Robot goes, I'm like, oh, God, are we going to make it a little weird? Are we going to make it a little weird? We didn't make it weird. He was just happy to
With
see
all the weirdness in this show, it's so funny that, like, the wholesomeness comes from the robot who wants to kill Nazis.
Yeah, I enjoy his weird wholesomeness about it just because, like we said, he has one directive, and that is to kill Nazis, but the other is to do it with friends. So when he finds friends, he puts them on a pedestal almost over anyone else, especially when that one, it seems like Nina's the only one who really kind of like cared a bit about G.I. Robot, at least so far in this. So I enjoyed that little dynamic. I enjoyed it more the fact that they didn't make it weird.
Nina's role on the team is so interesting because she's just there because she looks different than a human. Like, she's not a fighter. She doesn't have any abilities to help in this fight. She's just kind of there being G.I. Robot's friend. Pardon me. It's all a ploy. It's all a trap to get them out of the castle so that Circe and the sons of Themyscira can get to the castle. And that's when the real large, like, even though we got a little taste of the action in the World War II stuff, this is when the real action of the episode fires up here. I did find it quite ridiculous that you have these castle guards who are flying in Iron Man suits with lasers just get absolutely torched by some random dudes with just regular guns. Like, why are you there if you can't stop just regular? It wasn't Circe that was like mowing them down. It was just these random sons of Themyscira dudes with their guns. That's a pretty shitty tech.
Bad tech, bad army. No wonder this is why they hired a bunch of monsters to come over and protect them, because clearly this little military force they have around the castle is pretty bad. That's all I really have to say about that, is that they're very clearly pretty bad when you have all this tech, all these lasers and all this stuff, and you're losing to the soft boys. Come on.
They Creature Commandos return just in time to save the day, and G.I. Robot finally gets his chance to kill Nazis. He is so happy. It's a heartfelt moment till he fucking blows up, Damon. Circe explodes him, and just when we care about G.I. Robot the most, he blows up.
Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. I was very, very sad. I texted you, what was it? I don't even know what time it was, like 8 a.m. for you. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, and
you thought it was like absolutely something serious.
No, on my phone, and I was like, oh God, are you okay? Like, what happened? My brain wasn't even focused on Creature Commandos at all because I just woken up and I was like, shit, man, like, are you okay? What's going on? But of course, it was about G.I. Robot.
Of course, it's about G.I. Robot. It's almost always about G.I. Robot at this point. And then now he's gone from us. He's taken away. Dang you, Circe. I mean, they had to kind of make her get rid of one character, at least on this team, to really make her feel like a true threat. It makes me sad that it's G.I. Robot. I thought it was going to be like Weasel or something, but, Weasel hasn't had his episode yet. So it makes sense from a storytelling point of view.
Yeah, Weasel ends up actually being the one to go in and save the day, because when the sons of Themyscira and Circe are beating the crap out of everybody, beating the crap out of Princess Ileana, it's Weasel who comes in and bites the shit out of Circe, cuts her all up to pieces, Dr. Phosphorus comes in and just melts the shit out of her face. This show's dark as hell.
Yeah, there's a lot of like invincible level violence in this, or even like the Suicide Squad level violence. Like, you know, when GI is going around like killing the Nazis earlier in the episode, you see like the guts come out and all that stuff, and it's like, gore, violence, and it makes me laugh. But it's in terms of like, this is DCU's very first project. They were very clearly not afraid to like go there. But this is a type of show that you can do that with. Like, I'll say this: if Superman is anything like this show, we'll have a problem, right? Like we'll have a problem. But I'm not expecting it to. I don't think most people are expecting it to be like this. So like, if you're gonna do it in this show, that's fine.
On that note, as we see Princess Ileana getting attacked, not defending herself any more than a regular human would, what does that do to your Clayface, Princess Ileana's Clayface theory? Are you still on board? For what it's worth, I've actually started hearing this from quite a few other people as well.
Yeah, I'm still on board because I didn't get it in the Penguin, so I need to get it here. I need to get like some weird like, haha, in the end you were with a Clayface, haha, type of thing. So I need that here, and I will be on board that until the end of the show. I'm on board with this as much as I am that Atten in Skeleton Crew is not a real planet.
You fool. Let's talk a little bit more about Clayface. Take a little bit of a detour because they did just announce that horror superstar Mike Flanagan is going to be directing and writing a Clayface project. Now, that's also exciting because that means our guys, we've interviewed them a couple times, the Newton brothers, Newton Bros, who always score Flanagan's projects, are probably, and they did X-Men 97, means they're probably going to be doing original Daredevil theme too. Just want to show like these guys are pretty cool. Means they're probably going to be doing this one too, hopefully. You're a horror guy. How excited are you for this Flanagan Clayface project that is confirmed to be in the Reeves, or not confirmed, reported to be in the Reevesverse? So not a specific DCU project, but fitting in the Reevesverse with the Batman, the Penguin. Your mega Clayface theory lives
to fight another day. Not only can I get it once in this show, we can get it twice in the main theory. Oh, that would be magical. That would be absolutely magical. But yeah, how wild is it that like they actually may make, like, it seems like an actual monster non-grounded thing in the Reeves universe is like wild to me, because we kind of like joked about this Clayface like penguin thing, but like I took it seriously, but not like too seriously. Like I wasn't like upset the fact that like probably wasn't the case in the end. However, I think that is a fascinating twist to that world if they go that route. And also on top of that, Mike Flanagan doing a horror thing in DC. Yes, please, thank you, sold immediately.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still not totally convinced it is going to be a monster show. Like, I think it could be very much a Master of Disguise style of Clayface as opposed to a big mud monster. But we're still holding out hope that Eve Carlo from the Penguin series is going to be Clayface. We saw some disguises in that room. She's got the same last name as Clayface. We're holding out hope that Penguin's best girl is actually Clayface all along. Let's pivot back to Creature Commandos because, like we talked about, it's dark. Weasel and Phosphorus just absolutely devastate Circe. They melt her face. They're cutting and biting. The blood's everywhere. It's gross. They win. And like Bride says to Rick Flag, you wanted monsters. Here's your monsters. But Circe claims that by stopping her, saving Princess Ileana, they have doomed the world. Now, is this just classic villain tactic of, oh, I lost, this is my last shot? Or do you think she's telling the truth and she was using these sons to control them and actually do something positive?
You know, there's always something when you add on the fact that it could be like some vision of the future or some prophecy that could come forward. And if that is the case, if this does have like a larger impact on the DCU, this is a fascinating way to start things off. That if by, stopping her doing whatever, we don't know at this point, it could lead to a chain reaction of things down the line. So, as I do still agree with myself that this is a wild place to start the DCU, if it means like the effects from this or cause a chain reaction down the line that could lead to a bigger thing, it makes sense why this was released first.
Yeah, maybe there is a little bit more to it other than just, hey, this is what was done first, and that's why it's here first. Maybe there could be a little bit more to it, but I think it makes for an interesting story. I'm really digging the way they do character explorations throughout each episodes to give us some investment. I will say that next week's episode is maybe my favorite from that perspective. I don't know if it's my favorite overall, but I think from a character backstory perspective, it's my favorite. Which of the characters are you looking most forward to diving into and learning about?
Nina, probably, because it just adds more of a like she's on this team more just because she's good in the water, but we haven't had to deal much with water yet. So you're kind of looking at her, be like, why are you here? Type of thing. And I feel like hers may be the most sad. But Weasel too, just because it's next week's, and I'm excited because you have all like these rumors surrounding Weasel going all the way back to the Suicide Squad, and are they true? Are they not true? Stuff like that. I think there's going to be a little bit of that for all these characters.
Well, we will find out who is coming next week, and we will be back live breaking it down here on the Agents of Fandom YouTube channel. Every Tuesday, we're talking Skeleton Crew. Late at night, right after the episode. Every Thursday morning, we're going to be talking Creature Commandos since it's a late night release for that one. And we'll be live every week, as well as doing extra bonus shows for What If when it drops on Disney+. So make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our content. We got Comic Corner dropping tomorrow, where Damon, AF, Fat Thor, and the crew are always talking about the newest and best comics that are dropping. They got fun interviews, and so do we, with some really awesome stuff coming up for What If over the next few weeks here. So stay tuned. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter. Agents of Fandom everywhere else. This is kind of off topic, but I forgot to bring it up that I'm watching this show again in Whatcha Watchin. But something that we talked about reminded me of this show. And then it made me realize that when you said earlier, who's the Robin in Young Justice? Isn't it Damian? That you're not as familiar with Young Justice as I thought. Have you not seen this show? Dude, the main character is your favorite DC character. Watch the show.
I've seen bits of it, and the bits I've seen haven't like grabbed me, honestly. But it's on the list. I know.
Season 1 is like it's classic. It's very much just like a Teen Titans-esque show, but a different version, except you're seeing all the Justice League characters and you're interacting with them, right? You got Kid Flash, you got Miss Martian, you got Robin, you got Superboy. Classic little, you add Artemis to it, it's just like a normal little team. But by season 2 and beyond, Nightwing is out here leading a new team of dozens of heroes. You got Wonder Girl, you got Blue Beetle, you got Static. Bro, you got to tune in. Beast Boy comes in, like, you got to tune into this show. It's incredible.
I know. It's on the list. I made my way through the DC animated movies up until, like, this most recent run with which is whatever. But I made my way through the good ones. So I'll get there.
That's what I did over the summer too. Actually, I made my way through the good DC animated movies and a few of the bad ones as well. I gotta tell you, the Crisis on Infinite Earths movies that are in the midst of coming out right now.
This most recent run has been
They're
atrocious.
horrific. Like,
been
not
atrocious.
one fun or exciting thing happens in that. It's like, oh, cool, Batman Beyond, and then he says one line. Like,
Yeah,
it's just absolutely terrible. But Young Justice is truly some great DC content. So I definitely recommend tuning into that one because there's some great twists, there's some great turns, and you get all of the cool young characters, like all of them. Name one, they're there. And so it's really exciting. Make sure you check it out. That'll do it for this week's episode. We will be back next week talking Skeleton Crew, talking Creature Commandos once again. And then after that, we will be ready to get started in some Marvel's What If on Disney Plus. Harvey Dent is in our YouTube chat right now. We got Two-Face coming in here, and he says there's no way the Creature Commandos could actually hurt Circe. They only hurt her because she wanted them to. So an interesting theory that Circe is just wanted them to think that they have the edge on her, and she's really plotting something. So I like that. Let us know your theories in the YouTube comments, and hit us up on socials at Agents Fandom, on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom, everywhere else. Let us know if you like the show. Let us know your theories. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We will be back next week, and we'll see you next time. Peace.